Sustainable Friends, and welcome to a new interview. We're always here at the Sustainable Friends shop in Milan, where you can find a lot of sustainable products, and you can also come to tell your story of sustainability. Today, we're listening to a very special story, which is that of Francesca Grazioli. First of all, thank you for coming here. I'll start by asking you to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
And also how you became interested in sustainability.
So first of all, thanks a lot for having me here today. It's a pleasure. It's a beautiful place to be. And my name is Francesca Grazioli, and I am a gastronome. So I'm passionate about food, but not really just like tasting and that, but like the politics behind food. I'm also a researcher for this international organization called the Alliance of Biodiversity International and CIAT, where mainly I try to study food security through biodiversity and climate change.
Perfect.
And I think I'm here because of the book I wrote.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. So while we're talking about your book, it's called Capitalismo Carnivoro. For non-Italian speakers, is Carnivorous Capitalism. So when and why did you start to write it? And also, why such a biting title?
So I started actually during the pandemic.
Okay.
So the idea of the book is to investigate the role of meat in modern societies and also the industrialization of the production of meat and invested in a capitalistic economic system.
Okay.
And actually it's very weird. The idea came like an evening on the sofa. I was watching like an old documentary, and something was a little bit weird, and I was like watching, and then I realized that the presenter was actually smoking the whole time. And it's a documentary from 1960s, back in the days, and then made me think, what is today? It's something that is invisible to us, but had a lot of implication in terms of climate, but not only. And then I thought about meat.
Perfect. And so why do you think exactly this the intensive farming can be linked to the capitalist system?
It's quite interesting, because what changed in the last 60, 70 years is we actually moved away from farms and we went to factories. And the implication of producing cheaper and cheaper food, not only, of course, like increased food accessibility, nutrition, and so on, but also allowed, for example, salaries and incomes to remain low. Because if the food is actually cheap, meat is cheap, then you don't need to pay your workforce a lot. Yeah. So this is kind of like the double link in between.
Okay.
And also like a methodology, a theory of everything needs to be productive, anything needs to be maximized.
The system. And so beyond the system, do you think also individuals have a role in this working?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as individuals, there are many ways that we can contribute toward a more sustainable food practices. One, of course, it's the most basic is consumption. But it's not just consumption, because otherwise we again go only to the economic side, and that would also be problematic for those people who cannot allow or do not have the resources to do and have a different kind of consumption. So it's also important to bring back the politics and the social aspects of meals.
Okay. And regarding Italy, how spread is this system, and is it different in other countries? Is it an international problem?
Well, Italy, the majority of animal products that we find in our supermarkets come from intensive production systems. So even if we have this idea of nature, of tradition, and so on, that should be like revisited also, because it's really political as well. It's an international phenomenon. It's globalized. If you think about the fact that the majority of soy is cultivated in Brazil to feed the cattle and the pigs that maybe are, especially the pigs in China. It's quite interesting to see how everything is.
It's a cycle, yeah. So regarding instead your activity at Biodiversity International, what do you do there exactly?
So at Biodiversity at the moment, my geographical focus, it's the Sahel. So on Monday I will be actually in Burkina Faso, Burkina Faso and Niger mainly, and we try to create and have projects that are so-called natural positive solutions. So we're working with farmers in order to revitalize, for example, the neglected and underutilized species, legumes, moringa, etc. Female farmers, especially seed banks, try to keep the biodiversity there, because it becomes also part of the sovereignty of the population person.
Do you think it's important to do research about this aspect?
Well, it's crucial. It's crucial also because if you don't do research, somebody else will do that, and
you never know when it's coming from.
It's of course like no space is left unattained. It's very important because there is a lot to discover. For example, like now we are studying moringa and trying to understand how we can decrease the level of pesticide utilized there, and how to have a better soil, healthier soil, etc., etc. And this, of course, comes from research, but it's like a different kind of research. It's not just lab; it's also with the farmers, with the high-level participation of the farmers. So it's pretty horizontal.
Do you have any future projects? Was that the first and last book you wrote, or?
No, last no.
Your plans.
That for sure was the first, and I really hope it would not be the last. I cannot really specify or provide too many information, but it's gonna no spoilers. But there will be something coming, not in the near future, but in the future.
Let's remind people where they can buy your book then.
Everywhere. Preferably would be nice in a local and small bookshop, but you can find it online.
Okay, and also let's remind your social pages so people can follow you.
I was not prepared to that, and
I know you're very active on LinkedIn, for example, because I found you.
I'm active on LinkedIn, which is Francesca Grazioli, very basic. On Instagram, you can find me as Fra Raviols, like dumplings, and that's it.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you to you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Also for us. Thank you. And we remind everyone that you can always come to the store to tell your sustainable story. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.